Okay, welcome everybody to our Millet of the Month webinar for North American Millets Alliance. We're so pleased that you're joining us today. We're going to be talking about pearl millet today, which is a very important crop globally and one of our millets that we like to shine a light on. What I love about pearl millet is it's one of those crops that not only has incredible impact as a forage crop, as a cover crop, but also really great nutrition. And I feel like we don't give it quite enough attention to illuminate the nutritional qualities of pearl millet. I've got an expert here with us today, Dr. Ohm, who is going to introduce himself. He brings decades of experience with pearl millet, sorghum, and other millets, and has an incredible background. Welcome, Dr. Ohm. I would love for you to take a moment to introduce yourself to our audience today.
Well, gentlemen, I'm sorghum, and sorghum breeder used to be from 1975 to 1980. In 81, they give me the assignment also as a millet breeder in Central Africa, which is in Cameroon. I was located. And then I have an interaction with all the millet breeders, David Andrew, Anand Kumar, and we started this program in Canada. I introduced the whole germplasm from Acriset. In 1992, we started this program in Canada, and overall, in last 34 years, we have developed 5 hybrids of sorghum. They are of grain sorghum, silage sorghum, and multi-cut Sudan into Sudan hybrids. And we have 3 pearl millet hybrids, which are, one is multi-cut forage pearl millet, second is our grain pearl millet, and third is sweet stem pearl millet, which we are working at present on this aspect. Wonderful. So overall, I have about 49-year experience as a breeder on sorghum and pearl millet.
That's incredible. And I love the fact that you have experience in more warmer temperate climates, but then also in Canada, which to me, I feel like is such an opportunity with millets, is to explore, how they can migrate their way up, especially with a warming planet. It's so important for us to look at new crops that can be really productive in northern latitudes as well. So, and then Gary, you probably know if you've been joining our North American Millets Alliance, he's one of our co-founders. Thanks for joining us today, Gary, as well. We're going to have a Q&A format, but Dr. Ohm also has a presentation that he'd like to give. Would you like to do the screen share for that, Don?
Yeah, I can do that right now.
Okay, wonderful.
I will have a few slides also that I'll share screens after Dr. Ohm's.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Johnny. The presentation is Progress of Canadian Pearl Millet Hybrids and its implication in the temperate climate of Canada and their utilization for food, forage, fuel, bioenergy product, leading to sustainable farming. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Yes, I'm working on it. That is interesting. There we go.
Introduction. Sorghum breeding program is generally followed in arid and semi-arid tropics climate throughout the world. AERC has developed breeding program in temperate climate at 45.4 degree north latitude in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, where none else has initiated in the world. AERC has introduced sorghum and pearl millet in Canada, and after more than 3 decades of research, released 5 hybrids of sorghum and 3 hybrids of pearl millet, which perform well under temperate climate. Being a C4 crop, sorghum and pearl millet has better water and nitrogen use efficiency as compared to traditional crops in Canada, along with better adaptability and stability in yield to a wide range of soil type. Canada has large area of unused marginal land which has low or little suitability for other crops. Sorghum palm millet hybrids developed by AERC have been tested and optimized for the grain and biomass production, which could provide a better option for utilize the marginal land on which the traditional biofuel crops like corn, soybean are not suitable to grow efficiently, thereby making a better use of available sources without significant extra input. Next, please. In addition, it would not only lead to the diversification in the energy production sector, but at the same time, it will also help in diversifying the food and feed industry using sorghum and palm millet grain and silage as an animal food feed, including gluten-free alternative for human consumption. The root of biomass sorghum and palm millet can capture and store atmospheric carbon, thereby replenishing the soil carbon content, as well as sequencing CO2 from the atmosphere. This would help in replacing the soil carbon content of the marginal land and storing the atmospheric carbon in the root biomass for longer period of a time, leading to the reduction of GHG. The presentation will cover overall growing aspect of developed hybrid seed and its use in Canada and abroad. Next, please. What is AERC? AERC, Agriculture Environment Renewal Canada, is a private seed company with a mandate for research and development of environmentally friendly crop diversification opportunity. Its principal focus is on palm millet and sorghum for use as forage, feed, grain, food grain, and bioethanol. AERC ensures that its technology and product contribute to the production of the environment and natural resource base. AERC has a collaborative agreement with federal government, provincial government, as well as all agriculture universities in Canada for testing and all the results to be obtained. In last 3 decades, AERC developed and commercially made available 8 products for different end users to farmers. Next, please. This is how our germplasm has been getting adaptable. And we have now in gene bank at least about 2,000 accessions of sorghum for various use and at least 1,000 accessions of palm millet for forage, grain, and ethanol production. Next one, please. Palm millet. Palm millet is a sub-Sahara Africa and Indian continent staple food grain, producing around 18.5 million tons of annually. In southeastern US, grown as a hay or grazing crop, and recently as a grain crop. In Brazil, during this 1890, we used to supply the grain millet for growing in no-till system, where now in the 2 decades, they are growing soybean after this acid soil is converted. In Australia, grown for forage, grain hybrid QBQ soliciting expression of interest for marketing. Significant contribution in Canada are 3. In rotation, palm millet control root lesion nematodes in crops like tobacco, potato, strawberry, and other tuber crops, and also improve the soil fertility, adding to the organic matter. Adaptation of crop for forage and grain. Discovery of sweet stem palm millet traits. Next, please. Grain palm millet. We started the work in 1993 and this research program to adapt palm millet to Canadian growing conditions. Over 30 years of research in collaboration with federal government, provincial organization, lead to the development of high-yielding adapted hybrid name, Canadian grain pearl millet hybrid 90, for use as a grain for human consumption as well as in poultry. This hybrid is very popular with potato farmer and used to achieve the control of root lesion nematode rather than using hazardous fumigant. Next, please. This is where we have started the program in Southwestern Ontario, Agriculture Canada Research Station, where we have these pearl millet trials. Next, please. This is how we are producing hybrid seed, utilizing genetic cytoplasmic male style line and its restorers. Next, please. This is how the hybrid is grown in now, even in Eastern Ontario and Quebec and other provinces. Next one, please. This is overall about 16-year average yield of starch because we are comparing with corn, which is our major crops in Canada among cereals. That is higher in starch, higher in total carbohydrate, higher in crude protein, and it has fat percentage 5 to 6%, which is omega-3. And grain yield is around 3.6 tons per hectare compared to corn 8.5 tons. Next one, please. Canadian forage pearl millet, the hybrid name is 101. It adapts to sandy soil. First cut is ready 45 to 50 days after planting. And second and third cut is after every 30 to 35 days later. Its average yield is, depending upon soil fertility, is 5 to 12 tons per hectare dry matter. Very rich in crude protein, particularly 16 to 18%. It has excellent regeneration capacity. As a rotation crop, control root lesion nematode in potato, tobacco, and strawberry, which the result has shown through the 7 nematologists who are working in our team, that there is a natural nematicide in the root system which kills the female nematodes, root lesion nematode, particularly the Prettylenchus, and reduce about 74% of nematode population in the soil with every year crop rotation. Next, please. This is how we have started. Generally, the 101 is we prefer to have 3 cuts so that you can have protein, higher protein. This is generally how the farmer are rotating with potato crops. They use 2 cuts for animal feed and 3rd cut they plow down. And next year they grow potato. There is a 15% recovery of potato higher than the without rotation. If you use millet rotation, there is a 15% increase, as well as the grading of potato, because potato is sold based on grading A, B, and C. So there is a higher recovery, and average potato yield is around 42 tons per acre. Next, please. So these are the 2 which are Canadian forage hybrid pearl millet, single cut, multi-cut. So 101 is a multi-cut, and the sweet stock is a single cut, and which has very high soluble sugar, and it can be used for ethanol production as well as alcohol production. And we had a collaboration with Gasol System Technology Inc. in Iowa, USA. Next, please. sweet stem pearl millet. We initiated the research in 2002. A curious observation that a genetic stock exhibited sweet stem has heavy losing of plants. Experiment for conferring SS sweet stem gene has a multiplication plot using genetic stock. Discovery of 23 hybrids, all derived from single MS line. Next, please. 107 DAP Brix value of 23 hybrid range from 17 to 18.5. Soft duff to duff stage versus 10.3 for control CFPM 101. Biomass yield is 48 to 68 tons per hectare. All 23 hybrid maize using single male style line, indicating the SS trait is dominant, not a normal distribution of value. Range limiting, indicating simple genetic control. Maintainer line B exhibit same break value as A line. In 2004, an observation nursery with 12 selected entries at Dali and Notre Dame du Brie. Dali is located in Ontario and Notre Dame du Brie is located in Quebec province. Next, please. Measurement of sugar content. A refractor is used to measure the percentage of dissolved sugar by weight in solution, and it is expressed as brick value. Brick value measure on second and third node of the main stem. Bottom to top, sample 3 to 4 random plants were entered. Brick is lower before flowering, gradually increase at anthesis, is maximum at soft duff stage, and later show a rapid decline. Sugar content is usually larger than brick value recorded. Example, 14.9, brick equal 19.5 sugar content. Relationship need to be established for each crop. Next, please. Here is the different range of hybrids. Among all, we have a check is our CFPM 101. And at present, the best hybrid we selected is CSSPMH7, which has brick rate of 17.5%. Next, please. This is how this you can see it in 2005, the hybrid trial. And we have one PhD student who worked on this one and develop all these data generated by it. Next one, please. This is how we extracted the juice and measure it through this squeezer. It run with PTO. Fill 3 to 4 stem at a time, capacity of 150 kilo per day plot yield. Sap collected in the bucket, measured bricks, volume and weight. Sap stored in deep freezer for delivery to the laboratory. Recorded weight of stem after extraction to estimate recovery. Next one, please. This is in courtesy of one of our lab in Herbert plus Polsky Commercial Alcohol Inc. in Chatham. General analysis, 2 samples were dependent on their usability of fermentation. All of the results indicate that fermentation should be successful. Very large difference was observed in the sugar content of millet. 101 has brick rate 5.5, where sweet stem pearl millet has 12.3. And this is how millet samples contain in high level of organic matter. Next one, please. Summary, we introduced these crops for feedstock, pearl millet for forage, grain control, rootlage, and nematode, addition of organic matter. Development pearl millet as a feedstock for ethanol, result obtained complementary with sweet potato, research need to be maximize ethanol yield. Pearl millet is a beneficial crop for farmer, contribute to environmental gain, opportunity for Canada to contribute to the development in sub-Saharan Africa. As in 2023, this crop has been declared as the very nutritious crop, free from gluten, free from cholesterol. And according to the FAO, they have promoted this all over the world, will be the best food feed for the population of world as well as all animal and birds population. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question if nobody else brings one up?
Yes, surely, please.
Dr. Ohm, in Brazil, you had mentioned almost off the cuff that it lowered the pH. I understand. Was it lowering the pH, meaning they had
No.
very acidic or alkali?
When we were working in Africa, AgriSet millet breeding program, and as well as with the farmer, they have a collaboration with one of the institute in Brazil.
Okay.
They have harvested the forest, and the soil was pH has 4.5.
Okay.
Which is an acidic soil.
Mm-hmm.
And the AgriSet had started the program there to provide them millet as a green manure crop to improve the soil pH. And after 10 years of rotation and experiment, they did it. They converted so many million hectares of soil now. They are using for planting soybean now.
All right, right. Soybeans breaks off yields significantly at 6 pH and below, so that makes sense. That means you're up to almost a neutral soil probably after rotation with pearl.
Now they are growing in that area. If we have collaboration with Brazil, and now they are growing sweet sorghum to produce ethanol there.
Yes. Yes.
Because sorghum can be grown up to soil pH 7 to 8.5.
Yeah.
Where millet can be grown even up to 4.5 soil pH.
As low as 4 or 5, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, truly incredible. I also have so many questions, but I see that
Please go ahead. Feel free.
Dr. Gupta has also raised his hand right away, and also Dr. Benjuri. So, Dr. Gupta, could you please ask your question?
Yeah, Dr. Om, what a nice presentation. Means before I ask my question, I work for AgriSet. We have international mandate for improving pearl millet crop, and we work across countries in Asia, Africa, in Brazil also, in US also. But when I saw this topic and we saw that Canada, so it was something new. Pearl millet in Canada was something new. I had never heard in my 16 years of pearl millet breeding career. Anyhow, so also I should add here, like you mentioned, you did your PhD in 1975 from Hisar. So exactly after 22 years, I did my PhD from the same institute, Hisar, in 1997.
Wow.
So that's great.
Oh, so you are my alumni.
Yeah. So my question is, like, we are breeding for mostly pearl millet for tropical environments where you get a period of maybe 6-7 months, which is non-winter season, which is rainy season or summer season, moderate summer season, where pearl millet can be grown. Means you are growing pearl millet in temperate country. So my question is, what type of challenges you faced and what type of extra traits you are breeding for so that pearl millet adapts in such a Canadian type of environment?
Actually, we developed the male style lines in that temperate climate. And that male style line, we start having 200 hybrid, 300 hybrid, putting in multi-location in different latitude, altitude, because Canada is a very big country. If you look into the total area, we have 10 provinces where we have all type of crops we are growing. Like in US, we are little more cold, cooler in temperature and climate. And in this one, we start first of all is this forage pulp millet 101. What can be its use? Particularly, we can do it. And we developed this hybrid, particularly Dr. Anand Kumar and myself and our whole team. And we involved the nematologist that we had a serious problem of fumigation we are doing in these crops. We have the largest area of growing potato. Earlier, we used to have tobacco, but in 1998, we closed the tobacco program. And mostly we are collaborating with the US now, particularly North Carolina and those states where they grow tobacco. And in this one, we induce this natural nematicide gene is available in pulp millet, and that is in root system because in sandy soil, this is the crop which goes about 5 to 6 feet root system, being a fibrous root. And where the nematode live in winter when snow fell down. And then we start observing that it is really reducing the nematode population in one rotation, 74%. And from there onward, we start increasing this hybrid seed in Canada. And we are supplying to the farmers, at least it is grown more than 20,000 acres as a rotation crops. Similarly, then we started our grain pulp millet. Can it be adaptable to temperate climate? And we did all multi-location testing with our federal organization, provincial agriculture organization, as well as agriculture universities. And we find out the gene which has cold tolerance. And we put that one in our male style line. And now the farmer are growing as a grain pulp millet, at least up to 48-degree north latitude. It is well adaptable. Yield is not very high compared to what we are getting in our wheat or barley or oats or corn, but not bad if you have this yield. But look toward the quality of this pulp millet in terms of food, feed, and in terms of forage.
Yeah, so
I
that's
hope I reply your question or you need more.
yeah, sure. Yeah, but just two more things. One is when you are growing pearl millet in Canada during that 80-90 period, what are the low temperatures during that
Well,
time?
at the planting time, we have the soil should have a temperature of 12 degrees Celsius. And weather temperature can be 14, 15, 16 or 18 degrees. It grows very well when the soil temperature is 12 degrees Celsius. And then our temperature goes, and in Canada, and we have day length is very high compared to other countries. Period of sun shining is high, and within 45 days or 50 days, it grow up to 1 meter tall, and we can have our first cut. Our first cut yield is lower than second cut. It has more higher tillers. Second cut is higher, and third cut is also similar to second cut. So in that respect, we are harvesting for dairy, particularly where we have cows giving us about 38 liters per day or 55 liters per day. Those dairy farmers, they are using this in crop rotations.
So this harvest you're talking about grains or you're talking about forage?
No, I'm talking about forages. Three cut.
Forage, right. Right.
Grain
Right.
is only one cut, and the maturity of this grain pearl millet hybrid is around 108 to 110 days.
Okay, just two small questions. How pearl millet is consumed in Canada as a food, feed, means majority, how it is going with?
Now, Canada is using as a food. They are making so different type of like you are using in India. You see from particularly the different type of recipe of food from Gujarat state, Andhra Pradesh state, in Tamil Nadu, in Maharashtra. Those all recipe, those people who are migrated from India, they love to their millet.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah, we are at Ikriset, sir. Anytime, please.
I know in AgriSet, I start working with AgriSet 72
Yeah, you mentioned,
to
but
80.
anytime, please be in touch. And I think my colleague is also there, Dr. Rupa, who is a food specialist. She may have some question.
Yeah, she does. In
Please.
fact, thank you, Dr. Rupa. We're excited to
Good
hear your
evening.
question.
Yeah,
Yes,
good
Dr.
morning.
Rupa.
Greetings. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the very informative presentation. And I also thank Dr. Gupta ji for integrating me into this presentation today. I also have an extension to Dr. Gupta ji's question regarding demand for millet-based foods in Canada and North America. How is the demand? Would you describe it as a demand as a health food, or is the demand based on awareness of sustainability? What kind of demand is it, and what is driving the demand?
Thank you, Dr. Rupa, for your question. Particularly, the pearl millet people are in North America, we have a serious problem of diabetes, heart attacks, and we have also this overweight.
Yeah.
And through the experiment we did it with the hospitals, pearl millet is one of the best cereals compared to wheat, rice, or corn in terms of quality. And mostly the people want to diversify in their food habit in North America, particularly because of those diseases, which are very, very serious. And some of the population also is allergic to gluten. That is why they are preferring sorghum and millet, which is a gluten-free crops. So I hope I reply, and the demand is increasing. We have just started supplying the hybrid seed, and every year we are short of seed. So that farmers are aware of it now, and they want to grow it because now they know they can grow in their own climatic condition. So it is not only health food. Even we had done experiment with poultry. We can have omega-3 meat, omega-3 eggs, rather than we are using flax. Now the poultry industry is also interested to include pearl millet as production of omega-3. Dr. Rupa, I reply, I hope your question, or you have more?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I'm very interested in knowing more about the evidence-based studies you have for diabetes and obesity. If you can share with me these, if there are any reports or publications, I'll be very grateful.
Yeah.
Well, I think we will send you something. Dr. Bita is working in Agriculture University in Winnipeg. She is a food nutritionist, woman food nutritionist, and she was conducting these one, and she did all the analysis of the sorghum and pearl millet grown in Canada, and sorghum and pearl millet, which we have also collaboration with Netherlands. And she took and also from Africa, and she compare all these millet quality as well as also the sorghum quality. And that publication, I think, is out. I may be able to send you that.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Just to elaborate, we are doing value addition of pearl millet here also for foods and mainly for ready to eat and ready to cook category foods. We are exploring our varieties here, and we are also doing nutrition intervention studies with these value added foods and tribal regions, which we are scaling up from Telangana now to Odisha, Assam. And though pearl millet is not grown in the northeast of India, it's more of the small millets. But yes, there is a lot of potential for value addition. So thank you so much, sir.
But
Such a
you are
great-
you are using mostly the ragi or the finger millet or the foxtail millet. Have you people tried to grow foxtail millet which are grown in China, which will be very helpful in addition to the food, which we have started the work, and there is a big demand of foxtail millet.
Yeah.
Right, sir, right.
Yeah, I can add on something on foxtail millet. Means China is taking almost 4 to 5 tons per hectare of grain yield, but they are growing hybrids. They have hybrids in foxtail millet, 2 lines with using 2-line system. But we don't have much area. But if hybrid technology comes, I think we're planning on those lines.
You know, the Dr. Gupta, the province of Inner Mongolia,
Yeah,
where they are growing highest. There are 4 institutions which are collaborating with us, because I'm advisor to the government of China on science and innovation of crops. They are also using our multi-cut Sudan to grow in saline soil where the soil pH is 9.5. And this, our hybrid is well adaptable, and we are supplying about 100 ton seeds every year to China. So this foxtail millet, we have developed also one hybrid here. And this year we are going to increase our hybrid seed production.
It's incredible.
that's great.
Yeah, Dr. Alm, I would really love for you to share not only the articles to research that provide some support to these nutritional claims, but information about how farmers in my network and other networks could experiment with these seeds. I know that there's a lot of interest in more northern climates to diversify crops. I'm particularly interested in the nematode qualities. I work in developing regenerative supply chains, and nematodes are a constant problem, especially when we're trying to eliminate or dramatically reduce use of synthetics. And having a pearl millet rotation to fight the nematode damage could be revolutionizing, but we need to have a market path for that pearl millet. We're still in the early adoption curve in North America, in my experience after working to commercialize and develop markets for millets. But I think especially with the compounding epidemic of diabetes and metabolic syndrome, we will have to embrace these grains that impact metabolic health and are diabetic friendly. So I'm really excited about this. Dr. Osborne, I see you've got your hand up, and then I know Gary probably would like to contribute as well.
Yeah, I don't want to take into Gary's time too much with this. The fascinating thing about these webinars is sometimes we get on these discussions that are really interesting, and you want to keep going and going, but we do want to leave time for Gary. But in with his perspectives on pearl millets in south of the border, if you will, in the U.S., and I would have a quick question to kind of lead into that transition. About the grain pearl millet. I'm curious to know, Dr. Ohm, how much of seed for that variety you're selling to the U.S. There is, of course, and I'm also interested in comparisons with the TIF grain 102, which I understand to be the main grain pearl millet variety in the U.S. It came out of Georgia some years ago. And is still around, but I'm not sure that it's grown on a commercial basis for food at all. Although we've had demand, we've heard of demand from the Indian American community for sources of fresh pearl millet within this continent, but we just haven't been able to point them to anybody who's growing them. So anyway, I'm curious how your grain hybrid is marketed south of the border in the U.S.
Well, actually, we have just started now that there is a demand coming from US particularly. You know, those our Western Canada bottom of that area, like, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC, down to your Washington state and those Idaho and those North Dakota, South Dakota, and particularly this Carolina states is particularly rotation with the tobacco. And there is a demand coming, and we have very limited seed production at this moment. But the government of Canada is thinking now that we can have a collaboration with some country where they do not grow pearl millet, where we can produce our hybrid seed in large quantity. Or even in US, I have a collaboration with Arizona now, as well as also we can grow in Kansas and Texas states, where we are looking at collaboration that this hybrid seed can be produced and we can supply the breeder seeds. Moreover, in Tunisia, there is a work going on, and in Philadelphia and New Jersey, we have a collaboration, and we are planning to start this program through Adventa Seeds. You asked that Tipton, Georgia was the first one who developed the male style line in the world, which was used later on in India by AERC and other teams. But after that, the program keep on going down and down. And we develop now our 2068A and B male style line from that type of germplasm, which we are using as a female parent. So that is very adaptable Tipton material used in Indiana University, Chicago, as well as in Nebraska. But now your program is closed. There is no pearl millet breeder working on it.
So just to add, there is just nowadays one program at Hayes at Kansas, and Ramaswamy is there. He's the only pearl millet breeder now. And a few months back, a farmer and a scientist came from Arizona and Kansas. So they took pearl millet hybrid seeds from AERC, and we don't know the results yet, but I think the process has started.
Wonderful.
Well, the AERC material is well adapted to semi-arid and arid tropics, which is, you are well aware of whole Africa if you look into your own Indian continent and neighboring states where you are growing. Our national program in India of sorghum and pearl millet, it was so strong that even AERC contribution was less compared to the national program when I was in that AERC program. But now the international program gained again the strength. But the main problem is now this transfer of genetic material. Everywhere, everybody is crazy. So the movement of germplasm is now, transfer agreement is required. Same is happening with US, same is happening with AERC, and same is happening with all national programs, which limited the restriction of germplasm.
We had those issues 4 or 5 years back, but now they are resolved with Government of India, and germplasm movement has started. So that's not of a big issue now. But only thing one I will add is why I thought to attend this. It was a new type of topic, pearl millet in Canada. And also, as you are a seed company, you know that AERC runs a consortium. So, sir, you being alumni of AERC, just see if AERC can have any role to enter into new geography, and that would be of great help. Thank you.
Okay, I will elaborate that one.
Yes.
2 days back, I had a conference call with program in Hungary, which they are supplying the sorghum program seed production in Hungary. And the guy is Chinese origin, And this fellow asked that he want some germplasm from AERC, and he is not access to it. He said, do you know anyone who can help me? Because government of India has put a restriction of your movement of germplasm. We
Now
cannot
that
get even in Canada, I cannot get the germplasm from AERC now.
No, sir, if you start a communication and you can convey this to your partners also, now it is okay. Now it can go very fast. Those issues are resolved.
Well, I attended a international congress in Batinda, Guru Kasi University in month of August. And I meet your agriculture commissioner of India. And I asked him why, when you are going to open this thing. He said, no, Dr. Dangi, there is no problem. But there is a big problem.
Yeah.
The germplasm of AERC has restriction, being a international organization.
No, as I said, it is resolved. So there were some issues of Indian
How about the
germplasm.
transfer agreement signatures?
No, that is
Germplasm transfer agreement.
MTS, sir, you know, everyone has to sign.
Yeah. I think we
No,
should
that is
have
okay.
a webinar just on germplasm, you know, and rights and breeding, because this is something that I run into a lot in work in the private sector and all the time, like literally every day, and not just in millets, but in wheats and, you know, other crops as well, potatoes even. So this is, I'd love to table this conversation for maybe literally a focus session just on germplasm and how we can really advance genetic diversity globally for our food system and navigate this, because it's like a topic in and of itself. But I do, because I know Gary has to go at the end of the hour. I wanted to ask Gary a quick question pertaining to pearl millet and the geographical you know, prevalence in North America, specifically in the US. I do know some farmers that grow pearl millet, mostly for cattle. Organic, and they're in high elevation dry areas. And I'm just really curious, because Gary has worked a lot, and I know Dr. Gupta, Dr. Om, you have as well. Like, where are you seeing our hubs of pearl millet growers actually out in the field across North America? Gary, could you start with that?
Yeah, why don't I share screen, because I cover it in these quick slides. These are basically the uses of pearl millet throughout the U.S. And they're considered non-program areas, meaning the USDA does not track. I was interested in Dr. Ohm said 20,000 acres are planted of pearl in Canada, except any of my records show that Statistics Canada doesn't have any pearl millet. This is a field, for example, of what it
Gary,
looks like.
I can't see it. I can't see the screen.
Oh.
Can you unshare and reshare again and just make sure it goes out?
Oh, shoot. Okay. Hold
Yeah,
on a
sorry
second.
about that.
No, where am I at? I'm not sharing screen.
There we go. I can see it loading now.
I
There's
apologize.
the Zoom screen. That's okay. Oh,
Okay.
I can see that PowerPoint. Go ahead and click on that. There we go.
Okay, I'm just going to back up once. But these are the uses on my initial slide, and they're non-programmed crops. I think that's what's important, and the key message here is that it's hard to track, but there are tracking. This is a field, for example, USDA does not show on their statistics. This is a farmer raking it, and here's an example. This is what USDA does. Farm Service Agency reported 67,496 acres in 36 states of pearl millet last year. Of that, 5,852 in 17 states, 6 of them irrigated this millet. But as you see down below, where did that seed go if it's supposedly not used for grain? And part of the reason why USDA allows farmers to report common millet, and there were 357,000 plus acres of common millet planted, but common is common in, pearl is common in the Southeast. Pearl is common in Missouri, where foxtail millet is common in Western South Dakota, is proso in Colorado. So we don't know where them 357,000 acres lie as far as varieties. Here's an example of where the millet acres are, to your question, Joni, according to USDA, Farm Service Agency. Texas reports the most, and you go all the way down to the top 10, South Dakota. Notice they are not in the far southeast part of the U.S. except for Georgia and Florida. They're spread throughout the U.S., and this is USDA data. But this is only what farmers report under their programs. And as I said, most of them are not reported. For example, that 890 acres, this fields that I'm showing here are fields in 2023. USDA reported 0 acres of pearl millet in Pennington County, where I live. 2024, 0 acres. I'm on the doggone ranch farmers where they're actually planting it, so I know it exists. Here's the actual numbers that I can dig out. Farm Service Agency, as I said, reports 67,000. National Ag Statistics, as is Statistics Canada, reports 0 acres of pearl millet. The Jefferson Institute, and that is carried out by Iowa, and the same data is, I think, used by Iowa State, as well as NRCS, they report 1.5 million acres. But there are 6.6 million acres of cover crops in the U.S., according to Farm Service Agency. I think it's considerably more than that, but 6.6 million. And of that, we know that pearl, foxtail, and other brown top Japanese are used in those cover crops. USDA Farm Service Agency also reports 35 million acres of forage mixes. That is where I think a lot of the pearl millet is at, besides wildlife and food plots. Here's a guy baling the same field. Now, what does the different universities say? New Mexico, Southwest U.S., considered a temporary summer pasture, hay, and silage crop. The Jefferson Institute says it should be used for forage. University of Missouri says it's most extensively in the southeast states, and that, I believe, is old data. And probably old because it's not reported in other states. Although Florida, for example, it's used in dairy mixes. And what they found is that pearl is even actually exceeds the requirements of dairy cows. And so they balance the ration out just like we did on our farm. It used different forages. In North Carolina, it's a good summer grazing. Green cover crop says it's the best haying and grazing millet. I agree. Iowa State uses it as a cover crop mix. Here are states that don't report hardly any pearl millet, or at least some of them, hardly any pearl millet, but they're raised on thousands and tens of thousands of acres. And so here's the brochure from USDA / Iowa Extension, for example. That's available on the internet. So one thing that Dr. Ohm covered, and I think I want to get into it shortly, but this slide in particular shows why pearl millet and other millets are not reported as widely or not planted as widely. Farmers and ranchers and cattle are very smart. They know what is best for their ground and what produces the most feed and the best feed. But just because pearl millet may be on several million acres, it's not something driven by the sales force because they get paid on nitrogen, whereas I think it was Iowa or one of the states reported it's a nitrogen sucker, meaning pearl sucks up nitrogen. So a salesman doesn't get to sell the nitrogen if pearl millet is actually using what's scavenging out there. And so a salesman's going to try to sell what he makes the most money on, not what is best necessarily for the farmer. And so that's why millets are underreported. The next couple of slides, and I want to just wrap up here with these because it ties in excellent. After I reviewed Dr. Ohm's slides I got yesterday, I added 2 more to the bottom. And that is some work that I did on sugar content of various forages. This is in my patent, and I did the work in the early 2000s, and it actually finally received a patent in 2014. So you can look through that. But table 9, the end of that, this is some supporting work that I did on sugar contents. And what I found, the brief summary is there are a lot of plants during the growth stage that have far more sugars, fructose, glucose, and sucrose, and it varies depending on the stage, than does pearl millet, or certainly more than sugarcane. These crops are produced, and look at the far left, 58-day to 132 days. So we're looking at 3 to 4 months, 3 to 4 plus months. We can produce more sugars out of lots of crops than we can out of sugarcane, taking a year to a year and a half. And so what my test was done, and what I'm trying to prove, is that there are crops out there that can be converted to ethanol or sugars, extracted and dehydrated for sugars, that can be done in a very short period of time, rather than relying 80% of the world relies on sugarcane and the rest 20% relies on sugar beets. We can use other crops. And what I would suggest on pearl millet, as well as other things that I experimented on one hybrid of corn, that I was able to get up to 27% sugar content in corn by blocking pollination. The plant has a natural conversion. When it moves through, it wants to convert the sugars into starch. Starches are hardly ever measured in plants, but except in the grain. And when that plant starts reaching maturity, it wants to convert quickly that starch, sugar into starch, and it increases the sugar content dramatically, and changes it actually fructose and glucose to sucrose. And by blocking the pollination on each ear of corn, which you can do genetically, you can do it chemically, and you can do it mechanically, like I did, is just cut the ears off, blocking that pollination, and you jack up the sugars content dramatically. So I would suggest, Dr. Ohm, looking at your pearl millet by blocking germination right at the very end, clip the head or something like that, and you will dramatically, I believe, increase that sugar content.
That's so interesting, Gary. Thank you.
Can I put some input in it?
Please.
Actually, Gary, this gene, what is a simple gene, we find out that sweet pearl millet. Now, if you look into Brazil and Argentina now, sweet sorghum, they are replacing sugarcane with the sweet sorghum. And if you look into Argentina data or in Brazil data, where they were all based, ethanol production was based on sugarcane. Now they are going towards sweet sorghum. And one thing, what you mentioned it here, is that comparison of this 3 months crop, you can have, if your brick rate is about 16–17%. In addition, we also identified in our hybrid, when we are analyzing the data, that the level of sugar content is not sucrose higher, but galactose and glucose are higher in pearl millet compared to sorghum. And this can become a very important crop in sense of, if you can extract those two types of sugar separately, which our National Research Council is working with me. And in that case, glucose is best for hospitals, and galactose is best for baby food. So that research, we are working on it, and it will, pearl millet is a very easy crop to grow. Compared to, for example, you call that a German millet in your one of the slide, which is a foxtail millet.
Right.
And in China, that is the morning breakfast soup. They make it of that one. In German, there are 7 types of a different millet, if you count it. Finger millet, Japan millet, German millet, pearl millet.
Brown top down here. All of these, there's several million acres of millet in the U.S. It's just not recorded. And so I really appreciate your data.
Mostly the species panicum is generally used in blending in forages rather than pearl millet. So if you look into overall picture, this is a very old crop, and which was the 6th in production in the world.
Well, actually, in the U.S., if you count all the pearl millets, especially with sorghum in there, it's by far leading any other crop. Corn leads, followed by soybeans, followed by wheat. But we're looking at in excess of 10 million acres of sorghum and millets in the U.S. that simply are not recorded by USDA.
That is true. I agree with you, because U.S. is the 2nd largest producer of sorghum, grain sorghum.
which is about 6 point.
Which you have a fixed market already. Mexico is making Corona beer.
Yep.
Japan is taking all of your about 3-4 million metric tons, and rest is your domestic pet food.
Right. We have 6 to 7 million acres of sorghum, but we also have in access. Well, last month we had 10 million acres of foxtail millets planted in different scenarios in the U.S. And I believe that the millets are in the several millions of acres that we am working with USDA to try to get that more accurate count. So thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
That was so fascinating. This has been a great session. Thanks so much to everybody who's contributed here today. I love it when we have a blend of presentations and a blend of lively conversation, because then we can really meet the needs of the audience and unpack some surprise issues that we don't always plan for. So this is great. I'm going to put a pin in potentially talking to Don and Gary about maybe having a focus session later this year just on seed development and germplasm. And it's such a big deal with millets. And I know in my experience with building millets projects for Proso, just the whole landscape of germplasm is one of the barriers to commercialization and adoption for Proso millet in our area. So fantastic content, everybody. And we are recording this. We will make it available on our North American Millets Alliance YouTube channel. If you haven't been there, there's a lot of great content there. We're just started at the beginning of the year, but it's great. And we will also follow up with an AI synopsis to everybody who joined us. So thanks so much, Gary. I know you need to run. And
thank you very much.
For those of you who are overseas, it's probably late. So thanks for joining.
Excuse me, Tonya. Can I have your presentation, Gary? You will forward me those slides.
Yes, I can. I'll send that out to you.
So that I can keep in my data banks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
We also thank you, North American Millet Alliance. So please be connected with ICRISAT in your future activities.
Yes, Dr.
That would be very
Dr.
honored
Gupta,
to.
send me all your information. Contact me, keep me in touch with everything you need from Canada. We are there for ICRISAT.
Thank you.
Sir. Sure. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice day.